The universe has a way of balancing itself. Every action, every whisper of intent, every dagger thrown behind your back, it all comes back full circle. Some think they can manipulate fate, that their envy, their quiet sabotage, their desperate attempts to see you fall will go unnoticed. But life doesn't work like that. The very hands that plant thorns in your path soon find themselves bleeding. The irony: their own schemes pave the road to their downfall, while you, the one they tried to break, rise even higher. They call it karma, destiny, balance. Call it whatever you want, but the truth remains: the weight of their intentions is too heavy for them to carry. They wanted to see you struggle, and now struggle has become their shadow. They hoped to see you fail, yet they wake up haunted by the sight of you thriving. They burned bridges to trap you, only to find themselves stranded on an island of their own bitterness. This is the curse of those who wage war against the chosen. Their every attack becomes another step in your ascension. Your presence is not just noticed, it's felt. Like an unshakable force, you disrupt the fragile illusions they built around themselves. They cannot control you, so they fear you. They cannot define you, so they slander you. But every whisper against you is a drumbeat in the rhythm of your success. The chosen are not stopped by obstacles. They are forged by them. When they come for you, the universe does not stand still. It moves in your favor, turning their own poison into the very thing that strengthens you. Let them talk. Let them scheme. Every move they make against you tightens the chains around their own feet. And you walk forward, untouched, unstoppable. This is the power of being chosen. It doesn't just elevate you, it punishes those who dare stand in your way. And if you understand this, if you felt this in your bones, then you already know this journey is far from over. There's more power, more wisdom, more unstoppable energy ahead. Don't just watch, be part of it. Like, subscribe, and step further into the life they never wanted you to have. Because trust me, we're only getting started. Number 1, stop ignoring the power you carry. Your energy commands the room. There's something about you that lingers long after you've left the room. A presence that doesn't just enter, it shifts the air, warps the atmosphere, and unsettles those who weren't prepared for it. They don't know why they're drawn to you. It's not about charm, not about looks, not even about talent. It's something deeper, something unspoken, something they feel before they even realize it. You don't have to announce yourself. Your energy does it for you, and that's what terrifies them. People are used to predictability. They categorize, label, and file people away in neat little boxes within seconds of meeting them. But you break their system. They try to define you, but the moment they think they've figured you out, you shift again. Like a riddle with no answer, you pull them in, forcing them to wrestle with the unknown. And nothing unsettles the human mind more than the unknown. Some call it confidence, some whisper it's arrogance, but deep down, they know what it really is. Power, not the kind that boasts or demands attention, but the kind that doesn't need to. The kind that sits in silence and still makes the loudest impact. They feel it in their gut before their mind even catches up. You are different, and that difference is either magnetic or unbearable, depending on who they are. For those secure within themselves, your energy is a breath of fresh air, unapologetic, unshaken, effortless. But for the ones who wear masks, who rely on the illusion of control, your presence is a threat. You walk in, and without saying a word, you expose them. They suddenly feel small, unsure, like they're standing on unstable ground. Why? Because your mere existence reminds them of everything they are not. They will try to dismiss you, downplay you, label you as too much or too distant. They'll claim you think you're better than them, but their words are not reflections of you. They are confessions of their own discomfort. It is easier for them to believe you are arrogant than to admit that your silent strength exposes their weakness. The irony? You never asked for this. You never sought to make anyone uncomfortable. You simply exist as you are, and yet that alone is enough to send ripples through their fragile self-image. That's the weight of real energy, not the forced, exaggerated bravado that fades under scrutiny, but the quiet, unshakable force that speaks without words. You don't chase attention. Attention finds you. You don't demand respect. It's given, sometimes reluctantly, but given nonetheless. Because the truth is, whether they admire you or resent you, they can't ignore you. And that is why you haunt them. Because while they spend hours trying to figure out what makes you different, you've already moved on, walking ahead, untouchable, unstoppable. Number 2, face it, people project. Their insecurities onto you. Don't let it weigh you down. You don't have to lift a finger. You don't have to say a word. Yet, the moment you step into a room, something shifts. The air grows thick, tension rises, and suddenly, people around you start fidgeting, searching for an explanation, for a reason why your presence unsettles them. But it's not you, it's what you represent. You are a mirror they never wanted to face. Most people go through life carefully constructing illusions, masks of confidence, facades of success, and rehearsed performances of happiness. But you are raw, real, and utterly unbothered by the act everyone else is playing. And that's what terrifies them. Because when they stand next to you, their illusions crack. The ones who wear false confidence suddenly feel exposed, their bravado melting into uncertainty. The ones who have silenced their dreams feel their buried ambitions clawing at them again. The ones who have lied to themselves about who they are suddenly feel like imposters in their own skin. And the worst part for them, you never even tried to do this. That's why their reactions to you are so unpredictable. Some admire you, keeping their distance but secretly wishing they had your authenticity. Others resent you because standing next to someone so unapologetically real forces them to confront their own deception. And then, there are the ones who cling to you, hoping that being close to your energy will fix something inside them, without realizing that no one can save them but themselves. This is the weight of your presence. Not everyone can handle it. You're not just a person in their story. You are a reminder of everything they are and everything they are not. They will try to label you, misunderstand you, reduce you to something they can explain away. But deep down, they know the truth. You didn't expose them. They exposed themselves. You simply existed, and that was enough. Not everyone is ready for this kind of honesty. But that's not your burden to carry. Keep walking, chosen ones. The right people will see you for who you are. And the rest? They'll either grow or they'll run. Number 3, quit playing small. Your success breaks every rule they thought mattered. Your success defies logic, and that's exactly why they can't stand it. They were taught that achievement follows a straight road. Work hard, follow the rules, climb step by step. But then there's you, moving, rising, thriving, without ever following the script they were given. They watch in frustration, trying to decode your secret, trying to fit you into their rigid formula. But you don't fit. You never have. They grind away, convinced that struggle equals progress. But you bypass the struggle they glorify, and it shatters everything they thought they knew. They want to believe you got lucky, that fate handed you something special, Because if they admit the truth, that you play by an entirely different set of rules, they would have to question everything they were taught. And most people aren't ready for that. What they don't understand is that your success isn't an accident. It isn't magic. It isn't luck. It's alignment. You see things they don't. You move when they hesitate. You create opportunities where they only see obstacles. While they wait for permission, you rewrite the rules. You don't waste time seeking approval. You don't wait for conditions to be perfect. You trust your instincts, take unconventional risks, and refuse to be caged by outdated systems. And because of that, you walk through doors they never even saw. And this is what drives them insane. Because while they are stuck in systems that drain them, you move with an ease they can't comprehend. While they follow the path society handed them, you make your own. And nothing terrifies people more than watching someone break the game they thought they had to play. Some will admire you for it. Others will resent you. They will whisper. They will doubt. They will try to undermine your wins, because it is easier to believe you cheated than to accept that their way is flawed. But deep down, they know the truth. You are proof that life doesn't obey their rules, that success doesn't belong only to those who suffer the most. That power isn't reserved for those who follow the blueprint. Number 4, don't apologize for being different. Your refusal to conform shakes their illusions. You don't conform. You never have. And that alone is enough to send shockwaves through the carefully structured world of those who do. Society thrives on obedience, on predictable movements, on unspoken rules designed to keep everyone in line. But you were never built to follow. From the moment you stepped outside their invisible boundaries, you became a problem, not because you did anything wrong, but because your very existence questions the foundation they've been standing on. They find comfort in the script handed to them: study, work, climb the ladder, settle down, repeat. They follow it blindly, believing it's the only way, never daring to ask if the path they're walking was even meant for them. But you ask. You always ask. Why? Who decided this? What if I don't? And that terrifies them. Because the moment you refuse to conform, you prove that the rules were never real to begin with. Your choices disrupt their sense of control. The way you live, the way you think, the way you move through life without waiting for permission, it's a quiet rebellion that shakes them to their core. It forces them to look at their own lives, to wonder if they've been wasting time chasing illusions. And that's not something most people are ready to face. They call you difficult. They call you reckless. They say you're lost. But the truth is, you're freer than they'll ever be. You carve your own path while they cling to a blueprint designed by someone else. You create meaning instead of accepting what you're told to believe. And in doing so, you expose the lie of their stability. The system depends on people playing their part. A world built on predictability cannot handle the unpredictable. And you, chosen one, are the variable they never accounted for. So let them talk. Let them question. Let them stare in confusion while you walk forward, untouched by their expectations. Because the ones who refuse to conform don't just live differently, they reshape the world in their wake. Number 5. Stop sugarcoating. Your truth shatters the lies. They cling to your voice isn't just noise, it's a force, a sharp, undeniable presence that cuts through the comfortable illusions people build around themselves. You don't speak to fill the silence. When you open your mouth, the air changes. Your words don't just land, they shake the foundation beneath them. And that's what terrifies people the most. They say they want the truth, but what they really crave is comfort. They want words that fit neatly into their reality, that validate their choices, their beliefs, their carefully constructed identities. But you don't deliver convenient half-truths. You deliver the raw, unfiltered, inescapable truth. And truth has a way of making people uneasy. It's why your presence alone can feel like an earthquake. You force them to look in the mirror, to see the cracks in their own stories, to acknowledge the flaws they've spent years pretending don't exist. And for that, they call you harsh. They call you too much. But what they really mean is, you make me see what I'm not ready to face. Your words are not weapons, but they hit like artillery. You don't sugarcoat, you don't soften the edges, and you don't twist reality to make people feel safe. And that's why they remember everything you say. Long after the conversation is over, long after you've moved on, your voice lingers in their mind, forcing them to confront the very things they've been running from. Some will thank you. They'll realize that your honesty was the push they needed, that your words, though uncomfortable, were a gift, that without you, they may have stayed trapped in their own delusions forever. Others will resent you. They will twist your truth into an attack because it's easier to hate the messenger than to face the message. They will label you as insensitive, heartless, because the alternative is to admit that you were right. But here's the thing, chosen ones. Your words were never meant for the weak. They were never meant to be swallowed by those who fear reality. You were given this power because the world doesn't change through whispers. It shifts under the weight of undeniable truth. So let them flinch. Let them resist. The truth will always find its way to the surface, and when it does, they'll remember the one who had the courage to speak it. You. Number 6. Forget trends. Your timeless presence makes you impossible to replace. The world is a machine of distractions, a place where people chase fleeting moments, desperate to stay relevant, desperate to be seen. Trends rise and fall, dragging the masses with them, shaping their thoughts, their desires, their very identity. But you move differently. While they scramble to keep up, you remain unmoved. The tides of popularity shift, yet you stand firm, unshaken, untamed, untouchable. It's not that you reject change. You simply don't bend to the meaningless. You see through the illusions they cling to. The latest trends, shallow distractions. The next big thing, already forgotten before it even begins. You don't need to chase what fades, because what you carry cannot be replicated. There is an agelessness in your presence, an essence that feels like it was carved from something far older, far wiser, far beyond this temporary world. They don't know how to place you, how to define you, how to categorize you in their ever-changing system of relevance. And that unsettles them. They thrive on predictability, knowing what's in, what's out, who to follow, who to discard. But you disrupt the cycle. You are a rebellion without words, a contradiction they can't decode. They measure success by likes, applause, and fleeting validation. You measure success by something deeper, something they can't see, but feel when they're in your presence. You build connections that last. You chase visions that outlive the moment. You operate on a different frequency, one that does not cater to short-lived admiration, but demands eternal respect. And that's why they can't ignore you. They may not understand you now, but years from now, they will. One day, when the trends they swore by have turned to dust, when the ones who mocked your ways have lost their sense of self, you will remain. A living testament to what it means to move with purpose, to exist beyond time, to hold value that never fades. Number 7. Stop dimming your depth. Your emotions are a superpower, not a weakness. Most people live on the surface, drifting, avoiding, numbing. They sip from the shallow end of emotions, just enough to feel something, but never enough to drown. But you dive headfirst into depths they don't dare explore, Your emotions are not just experiences, they are entire worlds. Joy isn't just happiness to you, it's a force, a raw and untamed connection to something greater. Sadness isn't a void to escape. It's a place of transformation, a crucible where you refine your strength. This is what sets you apart. You are not afraid of feelings. While they run from their shadows, you embrace yours. You sit with discomfort, stare into the abyss, and come back with wisdom they can't comprehend. Your depth isn't a weakness, it's an unshakable power, and that power makes them uncomfortable. They don't understand how you can carry so much intensity and still remain in control. They mistake your depth for fragility because they don't know what true strength looks like. But here's the truth. Strength isn't about being numb, indifferent, or untouched. Real power is feeling everything and still standing. You see people in ways they are not ready to be seen. You hear the words they never say. Notice the hesitation in their voice, the shift in their tone, the fear behind their silence. You read emotions like a language only you understand, and this unsettles them. Most people spend their lives hiding behind smiles, behind distractions, behind carefully constructed facades. But when they stand before you, their masks fall, and they don't know how to handle that level of exposure. Some will be drawn to you, seeking the depth they lack, hoping your presence will awaken something within them. Others will push you away, calling you too sensitive, too intense, too much. Not because you are, but because your existence forces them to confront the truth they've been running from. You weren't meant to live a life of emotional detachment. You weren't meant to shrink yourself to make others comfortable. You were meant to feel, to connect, to thrive in the depths they fear. And that is why you will always be misunderstood. Because while they struggle to keep their heads above water, you have already mastered the ocean. Number 8. Refuse to be boxed in. Your complexity is what sets you free. People desperately crave certainty. They cling to labels like lifelines, thinking that if they can name something, they can control it. They want the world to fit into neat little compartments, predictable, easy to understand. But then there's you, the paradox, the contradiction, the one who refuses to be defined. They look at you, and their minds short-circuit. They try to place you into a category, but every time they think they've figured you out, you shift, evolve, defy their expectations. Are you bold or reserved, intense or laid back? Do you fit their idea of success, or are you rewriting the very meaning of it? The truth is, you are all of it and none of it at the same time, and that's what drives them insane. You don't wear a single mask. You don't conform to their scripts. You move in a way that can't be predicted, and that makes people uncomfortable. Society has programmed them to believe that everything must have a fixed definition, that people must be sorted into identities that never change. But you break the illusion. You prove that authenticity isn't about fitting in. It's about becoming. They will call you confusing. They will say you're inconsistent. But what they really mean is, you can't be controlled. They can't slap a label on you and move on. They can't decide what to think of you and walk away satisfied. Instead, you linger in their minds, forcing them to question everything they thought they knew about people, about life, about themselves. You make them uneasy, not because you are lost, but because you're free. And deep down, they envy that freedom. While they spend their lives trying to fit into the mold, you shatter it. While they follow the blueprint, you write your own rules. You are a storm they can't predict. A story with no clear ending, a force they cannot define. And that, chosen one, is what makes you unforgettable. Number 9. Without even trying, you expose the system's flaws. Keep doing it. You don't have to shout to shake the foundations of the world. Your very existence is a disruption. While others obediently walk the paths laid out for them, following rules they never questioned, you move differently. You don't conform, you don't ask for permission, and you don't wait for validation. And that alone is enough to send waves through a society built on predictable patterns. You challenge the status quo without lifting a finger. While others make noise to be seen, you remain still, and yet you're the one they can't ignore. You don't play their game, and that terrifies them. They've spent their entire lives following an invisible script, believing that success, happiness, and worth are achieved through formulas. But you exist beyond their rules, and that shakes them to their core. They don't understand how you move through life without blindly following the blueprint they cling to. You don't need a system to validate your worth. You don't need to be part of a group to feel secure. That independence, it's unsettling to them. People fear what they can't control, and you, chosen one, are untamed. Even your silence is disruptive. When they fill the air with empty words, desperate to be heard, you don't engage in the noise. You don't rush to justify yourself. That silence, it speaks louder than their shouting. It forces them to question, to reflect, to wonder why they feel the need to conform while you walk freely without hesitation. Your presence alone makes them second-guess their choices. They see you existing outside of their structure, and it makes them wonder. Have they been living inside an illusion? Have they spent years following paths that lead nowhere? Have they traded authenticity for comfort? You don't have to tell them. Your life is the proof. You are not here to blend in. You are here to be a reminder, a force that exposes the cracks in their carefully built realities. And whether they hate you for it or admire you in secret, one thing is certain. They will never forget you. Because while they spend their days playing by the rules, you have already rewritten them. Number 10. Be ready. Your presence creates obsession, whether you like it or not. You don't just exist. You leave a mark so deep it lingers in the minds of those around you, whether they want it to or not. People don't simply notice you, they feel you. Your presence disrupts the ordinary, unsettles the predictable, and shakes the very foundation of those who cross your path. You are not just admired, you are obsessed over. There is no middle ground with you, no indifference. People either cling to you with an almost desperate fascination, or they fixate on tearing you down. Some see in you everything they've ever wanted to be, fearless, untamed, unapologetically real. To them, you are an inspiration, a glimpse into the life they wish they had the courage to claim. But others? They look at you and see a reflection of their own inadequacies. You become the reminder of what they could have been, had they not surrendered to fear, to conformity, to mediocrity. They will watch your every move, not just out of curiosity, but out of a deep, gnawing need to either worship or destroy you. Those who admire you don't just want to be around you, they want to consume every part of you, your energy, your thoughts, your essence. And those who despise you, they will dedicate themselves to dissecting your every action, waiting, hoping for a moment of weakness, a crack in your armor. But here's the catch. The very act of fixating on you fuels your power. Their love, it lifts you. Their hate, it sharpens you. They do not realize that their obsession only cements your place in their mind. The harder they try to resist, the deeper they sink into the gravity of your existence. But you move forward, untouched. Because your power has never relied on their validation, you do not exist to be liked. You exist to be unforgettable, and that is why they will never escape you. Number 11. Strength isn't what they think. Your vulnerability is the ultimate power. They don't understand you. To them, strength is a performance, loud, aggressive, a show of dominance that forces others to submit. They expect power to come wrapped in armor, spoken through clenched jaws, and measured in how much one can endure without breaking. But you defy every expectation. You carry a power that doesn't demand, doesn't shout, doesn't seek validation. It just is. And that shakes them to their core. You are the paradox that confuses them, a walking contradiction they cannot define. You move through life with an unshakable resilience, yet you refuse to harden yourself. While others build walls, you remain open. While they hide behind facades of control, you have the courage to be real. This is what unsettles them the most, because in a world where people equate vulnerability with weakness, you prove that it is the ultimate strength. They watch you, expecting cracks to appear, waiting for you to stumble, to break, to retreat like they would. But you don't. You stand in the storm, unflinching. You acknowledge the weight, the struggle, the wounds you carry. And yet, you keep moving. You don't pretend to be invincible, and that's precisely what makes you untouchable. Those who rely on illusions of power will never understand this. They believe strength is in how much they can suppress, how much they can hide, how detached they can be. But their rigid masks shatter at the first sign of real struggle. And when that moment comes, they look at you, the one who never hid, the one who embraced every scar, and they realize they were never truly strong to begin with. Your ability to feel deeply, to be raw, to be seen as you are, is a weapon they cannot fight. You wear your truth like armor, not because it protects you from pain, but because it frees you from fear. And that is something they will never have. They don't know what to think of you. They can't place you in a box, can't predict your next move, can't decide whether to admire or resent you. But one thing is certain, they will never forget you. Number 12. You exist beyond their story, and that's why they can't handle you. Most people walk through life like they're the center of the universe, convinced that everything revolves around their ambitions, their struggles, their carefully curated narratives. They write the script, cast themselves as the protagonist, and assume the world plays along. But then there's you, the unwritten, the unpredictable, the outlier that doesn't fit their plot. And that's what unsettles them the most. You don't follow their script. You don't bend your life to match their expectations. You exist outside their small, comfortable world, and that makes them uneasy, because your presence alone forces them to confront something terrifying, that life is bigger than their personal drama, that they are not the sole authors of existence, that there are stories being told outside their narrow vision, and you are proof of it. They try to understand you, to place you in a category that makes sense to them, but you slip through their definitions like water through clenched fists. One moment, you intrigue them. The next, you unnerve them. They can't decide whether you're an inspiration or a threat. And so, they do what all small minds do when faced with something they can't control. They resent it. Your mystery is a mirror. It reflects back everything they've ignored, the possibilities they've refused to explore, the truths they've been too afraid to face. And that's why you linger in their minds long after you've left the room. They replay your words, analyze your actions, and question why you don't move like they do, think like they do, settle like they do. They don't realize it yet, but the reason they can't forget you is because deep down they wish they had your freedom. They wish they could break out of the boxes they've trapped themselves in. But instead of breaking free, they watch you, obsessed, admiring you, envying you, and fearing you all at once. And that's exactly how it's meant to be, because you were never meant to fit in. You were meant to redefine what's possible. You aren't just part of the world, you disrupt it. You rewrite the rules without ever needing to announce it. You are the force that makes people question everything. They don't understand you, they never will. But one thing is certain, they will never forget you. And that's why they can't look away, chosen ones. You challenge their perception of reality, forcing them to question everything they thought was certain. Your existence is proof that the world isn't as small and predictable as they wish it to be. While they remain trapped in their own stories, you move beyond, unbound, unstoppable, unforgettable. If this resonated with you, then you already know. This is just the beginning. There's more power, more truth, more revelations ahead. Like, subscribe, and step further into what was always meant for you. Because trust me, we're only getting started.